everyone, I'm Teak444 or Snowdays. I hope y'all are having a lovely day or have had a lovely day. As for me, I do have a little bit of a cold, so I apologize. This is the voice y'all are going to be listening to during the video. Honestly, not that different from my usual voice, but I have a feeling it's going to die near the end. Besides that, in this video, I'm going to be going over a few nostalgic things from Animal Jam Classic and just the earlier experiences in general. From this to IAMS and how it was played, the game has changed a lot since it was first started. So Animal Jam was a game created on September 9th of 2010 under the WildWorks company, and it was intended to be an educational game for children about wildlife and the environment around us. If you're wondering why I'm saying was, that is because in 2015, Animal Jam Play Wild was fully released, and now if you search Animal Jam, that is the version that will appear. With Flash gone as well, Animal Jam was later sold and it had its name partially changed to Animal Jam Classic and was available as an app, and still is today. So that is just a bit of backstory about Animal Jam Classic to those who may not know. People were able to learn fun facts about wildlife, hang out with buddies, and trade for items, and this trading became one of the main aspects of the game, creating the whole Animal Jam economy, the rarity system. And I can't even begin to talk about how much it has changed since the start of the game. Lots of items went up, some went down, items such as headdresses, tikis, and party hats, which started as a membership gift that they no longer do. They had all increased plenty in worth. Even spikes. If you had any rare long spike color in Animal Jam Classic in 2016-2017, you were rare. I remember collecting all the diamond shop spikes and trying to look cool. It was a struggle. And now they're actually a little rare depending on the color that you have. For a good while, solids, which used to be called black long colors, were worth 6 bad long colors, and people were very hesitant trading them away. Now they're only worth 4, maybe 5 if you're very, very lucky. Items such as headdresses have had quite a roller coaster of worth changes. A rim headdress used to be worth around a solid and add a bit in 2017. Then it was bumped up a little more. Around the next year, however, they took a plunge in the worth along with a lot of other items due to certain players hacking items into the game. I remember being live one night before I restarted my channel when I was literally gifted a magenta furry hat and a first glitch ring, and I found out later in that same stream that those items were actually hacked into the game. And I remember this caused so much chaos. Like, items were being traded for cheap, people were getting scammed like crazy not knowing that the words had dropped. People were actually so scared of their accounts being banned for having these items in them when they might have been hacked into the game. Luckily, it was all sorted out a bit and the words somewhat stabilized in later months. These items all went back up in worth. Rim headdresses went from a red long to 2 solids, and now as of December 2023, it's worth about 5 to 6 solids. Magenta furries went from 2 solids worth to 65, and even light pink headdresses were only around like 20 to 25 solids and have now nearly doubled in worth. And even today, the rarity system is very unstable. Like, y'all remember when patched hats were a phase? Like, who decided to make them more solids? Why did we all collectively go along with that? I was barely getting back into Animal Jam around this time, and I was actually stunned. But that only lasted for, what, a month or two? And now they're down to around a decent short color, and that also goes for the branched antlers, some of the collector's items, stuff like that. Inflations and increasing in prices wasn't the only thing that happened though. Lots of stuff actually went down tons in worth. Like I was saying, collector's items such as different rugs, phantom statues, if you watched trade attempts for them back in 2015-2016, people were trading solids for them. You will really have to search for the people who are collecting them. There were also different clothing items such as the Mech Angel helmet and the pirate swords. You know, the clothing beds no one really wants when they are requesting clothing beds. They were on like spike color level nearly a decade ago. And don't even get me started on the gazelle horns, top hats, and warns. If you have like a solid black top hat paired with a black warn or a neon bow, which also has significantly dropped in worth, a black long collar maybe, you were the jammer. Speaking of trading, there used to be so many places to trade prior to 2020. Now if you log in, people mainly only trade in Jamont Township, Breeze Lab, or the Coral Canyon spawn point. Years ago though, a lot of people would trade there, but they would also trade near the bottom of the Temple of Zeus, also to the right of Coral Canyons and Crystal Sands. I honestly feel like for a bit, Crystal Sands was the place to trade. Bring back Crystal Sands trading. I'm so tired of trying to get into full rooms. We need to spread out again. Swapping topics, there also used to be plenty of myths on Animal Jam Classic as well. And I'm not just talking about the F-Man 122 or the AJ Portal items you absolutely cannot stand on at 3 AM. There were also lighter myths about stuff like gaining items. Until around 2018, one of the biggest myths on how to get free items was to win them through a game, Best Dressed. Basically how it quote-unquote worked was that you would have to win the game 3 times or so, and on the 4th attempt you would place the items that you wanted onto the ammo, which were mainly the spikes, top hats, and warrants at the time. Then once the timer was exactly 3/4 done, you would quickly exit out of the game and you should have had the items still with you. Of course, this never actually worked. I remember 12-year-old me trying this like 3 or 4 times. I was pretty desperate over here. There was also a myth about the Forgotten Desert. A few of them actually. One was that you absolutely could not open the ground chest, or that would lower the rarity of the rewards you would get, especially if it was opened right before a prize chest. Of course, Animal Jam sent out the message that this was not true and the prizes were already automatically generated as the adventure started. But even so, there was still another myth that was spread about this adventure. People were saying that if you spoke at all, like chatting in the game, that would lower the rarity of the prizes you would get. And I don't know, it might have been started by someone who was just frustrated with people just chatting and not searching, which is understandable to a certain degree. But this, of course, was not true. I remember people being so strict on it though, like you would get called out and be told to stop talking if you were. It was crazy. Another myth is still pretty well known today, which is the notion that you need to collect all the gems in order to get better prizes. I literally still have it in the back of my mind while playing to this day. Like, I'll subconsciously find myself waiting a little bit before collecting the last shard of a gem if it's not the next one down on the list. And this was only the touch of adventure myths. I haven't even gone into the purple shards, the certain paths people would take in certain adventures, and what animals to use. One final myth I want to talk about, because I also tried this when I was little, was trying to paste images into the Animal Jam art studio. Even though the art studio was already there, Animal Jam had released a new feature of masterpieces in late 2018. And some art, just as today, was going for quite a bit of a price. Pieces from Artemis, Chocolate for Froggy, and other well-known artists were getting tons of recognitions for their great talent. And of course people wanted that too, but in the easy way. During the first few months or so that this feature was out, people were sparing videos of them being able to copy images from the web and literally just pasting them onto the canvas. And you would do so by loading up a saved Animal Jam painting, but quickly switching over to the image you wanted pasted. And once you tried, a dozen times or so, you would realize that this was actually just a myth. Alright, I feel like I've been rambling for quite some time now. This cold really isn't helping, but I really only scratched the surface of the earlier experiences over on Animal Jam Classic, so let me know if you would like a part 2. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna make one anyways because I love rambling about nostalgic things such as these experiences. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me yap about this beloved childhood game. If you have any thoughts or experiences of your own you would like to share, I would love reading them in the comments. I appreciate them. Comments in general, likes, subscriptions. You guys just watching these videos already mean a ton. With that all being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream. Bye!